Hello everybody, Saturday lunchtime when I'm doing this introduction. It's pouring with rain outside the workshop here and it's going to be raining for a day or two, I think, looking at it on and off. It's not a good week ahead of us. Got some good footage from the rally in London last Wednesday on budget day, and as some of you will know, that really was a catastrophe from the police point of view, because I wasn't involved in the organising of this one, but the farmers that were had got all permissions granted from the Met Police weeks before, and then on the night before the event they got pressure from above to pull it and say it couldn't go ahead, which was absolutely ridiculous, because a lot of the tractors were already on the way to London. Quite a lot were actually in London already, and suddenly saying they couldn't hold it when it had all been agreed on the route. It had been agreed that Whitehall would be closed, so all the tractors and everybody was going to be concentrated in one area. All of a sudden everybody and all the tractors were in lots of areas, so it caused absolute mayhem when it could have been all contained. But actually I think it worked in everybody's favour and in our favour, the farmers' favour, because what it did, because it was cancelled and the police had pressure from above to cancel it, it actually got more media interest and far more people involved than what it would have done if it had gone ahead as it was planned. But there were 2 farmer arrests, which I've got some clips of that. But they were quickly released, as we've seen. But they were arrested. One of them apparently for sounding his horn, and another one for parking where he shouldn't have been. But the problem we got is that even though it was all agreed, the tractors were already en route when they were stopped. Quite a lot of tractors were in London already, so it was just ridiculous that it was cancelled when it was at the last minute. So I think when you look at it, we've had a great result this week, because it's been highlighted how much farmers do. We're peaceful, we don't protest and cause a nuisance, we clean up London after us compared to all the other organisations. So I think really it was an own goal. But what I will say is an FOI, a Freedom of Information request, has gone in to find out who from above authorised that it be cancelled. The Met Police that we know and we speak to were really not happy at all about it, because they said we're law abiding and enjoy working with us. And it just caused mayhem. And you've got the odd police or 2 that were not acting really very nicely in the way they arrested 1 or 2 farmers. I think there's only 2 arrested. They were just trying to show the strength and flex the muscles. But please don't give the police a hard time, because it wasn't the Met themselves that did it. Even though they cancelled it, they were told from higher up to cancel it, and it's either someone in the government or somebody else, Mayor of London or somebody, but we don't know yet. But we've put an FOI in to see who it was and what caused it, and we will find out, and I will come back to you, because it's not acceptable that all this was pulled at the last minute. But as I've said, great exposure, and I think we've got more exposure from it. Huge amount of public support. So I've got footage from that. Also, if you remember last week, I said I'd have someone from Bayer come on to talk about these chemicals that might be withdrawn if we go into this dynamic alignment with Europe that the Labour government wants us to do, despite not being in the EU. And we could lose up to 80 active ingredients, so 80 chemicals if this happens, which is absolutely catastrophic for us, for food production, for farmers. So watch on with this, because I've got Mark Buckingham from Bayer talking about this. I've also got some other footage from him that I won't have time to put up today. I'll put it in the weeks leading up to Christmas, about glyphosate and about the renewal of glyphosate, and generally a lot of chemicals as such in EU regulations. So I've got some really interesting footage that I'll put up over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Also has just come out as well this last couple of days, which is really not good news, and another indication that Labour are not supporting farmers that they say they are, that they have increased the quota allowance of raw cane sugar that is allowed into this country. Now they've increased it 65,000 tonnes to up to 325,000 tonnes of raw cane sugar. Now cane sugar is not the same sugar that I grow with sugar beet. So cane sugar comes from countries such as South America, Argentina, Brazil, Australia, and all those countries have not got such tight regulations as we have. And just as an instance, in Australia, I think that because sugar cane is not a crop that's planted every year, they cut it off at ground level, and then next year it grows from that existing root. The first chemical they apply on the soil to control weeds is gramoxone or paraquat. That was banned here in 2003. Yet that will arrive on your supermarket shelf in a Tate and Lyle bag, and it will sit there with a Union Jack on the bag because it's packed in this country. The contents are not British, but that is one of the regulations that I'm trying to fight to put right. That food is allowed to have a Union Jack because it's packed in this country, and that's wrong. So you'll have Tate and Lyle sugar with the Union Jack will sit there, and you'll have Silver Spoon sugar that is made from British sugar beet sit next to each other. And when you look at the bag, they both have a Union Jack on. Silver Spoon will say grown in the UK, and the Tate and Lyle bag will say packed or produced in the UK. Very subtle difference, but massive difference actually in how they are produced and grown. And with sugar cane against sugar beet, there's 23 chemicals that I am not allowed to use in growing sugar beet that sugar cane farmers can use, and yet it's allowed into this country. So the fact the government say that it's a level playing field, they'll make sure the imports come in, match our home produced food, is absolute rubbish, because they're not doing that. The last government didn't, this government don't either, and it's really, really wrong. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight as well. And then also I'm moving some water about the farm here, because we've got water tanks are all full around the yard, the rainwater tanks. I'm moving those into the pond as well to help fill the pond up from the summer rain or lack of summer rain rather, that dropped the pond. So I'm trying to fill those water tanks, empty the water tanks into the bowser and then into the pond. Just come out literally last night. The horrendous budget we've just had this last week really shouldn't have happened, because Rachel Reeves and the government have lied to us when they said about this black hole. We all know there wasn't a black hole, but the fiscal studies and I can't just remember now the name of the organisation that advised the government, the Treasury, there was no black hole. There was a £4 billion surplus when the government and Starmer and Rachel Reeves saying that there's a black hole, and there wasn't. So they've lied to us, taxed everybody up to the hilt when they've no need to do. They're funding immigrants coming into this country. They're funding these big, large families with lots of children, and simple workers that they say they're supporting, they're not. I did see on Twitter that somebody who, a pub or a restaurant that employs somebody to wash the dishes, now because the minimum wage has risen, through national insurance and all the other regulations and increases that's been imposed, the pub are going to have to be paying something like $35,000 a year. That's what it's going to cost them, which is just ludicrous with all these regulations. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that because it's just it will get my blood boil. That's where we are now. This is the introduction. You can see I've got the mower here on the front of the tractor here. Thanks very much for helping put that on. Those of you know who watch this know who you are. Thank you for that. And the mower on the back. We're going to get mowing on margins this next week. And we've got the date of the sale of our machinery sale lined up, which is going to be April the 1st. That's going to be an online sale. Not selling these machines behind. The Manitou's not going. The mower that we got from Spalding's, the Cancella front mower, the 215 John Deere there, that is not going either. But some of the others, I'll touch on that in the coming weeks. But 1st of April is the deadline for our online auction, which I'll touch on that coming up and over Christmas. Thanks ever so much for watching. Hope you enjoy this update. Please just take note of some of the things coming, because it's really, really important for the future of farming in the UK and food production. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the end. It's Tuesday morning, and lovely bright sunny day, but I'm not in the best of moods because I got a call this morning. Somebody sent me a photograph of some damage to some fields that hare coursers have done overnight, so I'm just heading down here now to put some bales in the gap. This is up on the heath on the light land where we had the cereals event, on a fantastic looking crop of wheat, but the damage from it, from the picture I'm just approaching now, is not good, apparently. So I've got 2 linseed bales on to put in the gap. Look at that. Look at that. Dear oh dear. I'm speechless, because if I wasn't, I'll be really swearing. It's just horrendous. There, that's put some bales across. I need 2 more, but I've got to get off now to go and meet Mark Buckingham, who you will see a few minutes time in this video, but that is the damage that they've done. Maybe it doesn't show it very well on this video. You can see there all over that field. So I've just got back from seeing Mark and got Ryan in the yard here loading straw. Nala's here as well looking at me in the yard. So there is Ryan, he's just looking at that, just put his sheet on the very top. As you've seen before, he has to sheet the loads going on the ferry. And look, there's Rhonda, and Nala and Frankie are there as well. Hello, Frankie. Where's Nala? Hello. No, don't jump up. Don't jump up. It's Wednesday morning, about 7:30, and I have decided to go to Newark, or sorry, to London rather. I'm at Newark station at the minute, just waiting for the train. It'll be here any second. Just arriving now, so we'll get on this train and go to London in about an hour and 15 minutes, I think, into King's Cross. I've just got off the tube at Embankment, just behind me. Already you can see police vehicles. There's a big, heavy police presence around Whitehall, just heading now down to Whitehall Place, where the Farmers Club is, where there was a lot of tractors parked up a few minutes ago, well, a bit earlier. I'm not sure whether they're still there now. It's about 9:30. I've just had a call from the hospital, pre-operation, biopsy assessment, so just had that at King's Cross, so that's all right. So just heading now. Farmers Club's just behind me. I can see there is a few tractors, so we'll see what's going on. So tractors have got in, which is great. So this is interesting. We've got Rachel Reed's boxes going through the forage harvester. So this has been used for speaking off, but police aren't happy because we're not meant to be here blocking this road. Got Priti Patel, the Conservative Shadow Home Secretary, on GB News at the minute. So this is being taken down to Whitehall, not allowed to tow it behind the gator that you saw it on a minute ago. Got to be towed by hand. Raising it.
Oh, that's all right. That was about the right angle. Yeah.
Are you addressing us there, Charlie?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm not allowed a microphone like Steve Bray. So you're going to have to listen to my voice. And I've got to keep some of my voice because I want to heckle Rachel Reeves later on. This is a disgrace what they have done. It is a disgrace what they have done today, allowing Steve Bray up there to protest and not allowing you to conduct your lawful reason protest. But the bigger disgrace is what Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer have done with the family farm and the family business tax. We know the pain that that tax, the threat of that tax is already causing you. And we as Conservatives will axe the family farm and the family business tax because we want to save British farming. We know how hard you work. We know it's an all year round job. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is not the sort of job you work for 4 days like civil servants in certain councils and get paid a packet of money for doing it. This is your way of life. This is about your families, your homes, your livelihoods and your futures. We care, we get it, we've got your backs, and we are calling on the government to axe the family farm and the family business tax. Fight on! I'm going to give you one last quote from Winston Churchill, our greatest Prime Minister of all time. KBO. Keep buggering on.
Okay, right, listen, thank you everybody for making the effort to be here, keeping this story in the news, in everybody's awareness, consciousness, because this, let me tell you, has still got some chapters to be written. This is still a fight that can be won, because essentially farmers have been backed into a corner. And in life, when somebody backs you into a corner, there's only two things you can do. You can give in, or you can fight your way out. And I would say, if giving in was an option, I would consider it, but it isn't, so I don't. And for you, and for us, and for people across Parliament in all the parties who have an understanding of what it means when Keir Starmer says that food security is national security, then this is a fight that in the national interest we have got to win. Over in the chamber today, I'm pretty sure, God knows what we're going to hear, but we're all going to be told that it's about growth. Well, if Rachel Reeves thinks that economic growth is something that can only be achieved in the City of London, then I'm afraid that tells you quite a lot about her understanding of life. Because in fact, we all know that if we are to achieve the sort of growth that this country needs, then the rural economy has got to be empowered and enabled to make their contribution to that growth. And the beauty of the growth that we generate is, unlike the derivatives and the traders and the rest of it in the city, you can touch what we produce, because producing food is the most important part now of keeping this country secure and safe into the years ahead. Thank you for the input that you give us, because it's your efforts that inspire us in Parliament. Keep going, we've got to win this one, and we can win this one. So thank you.
That Keir Starmer, the farmer harmer, can hear us. So let's make sure that not only Rachel Reeves, but Keir Starmer hears us. Why? Because they right now are wanting to make sure that all of you from our food and farming sector and the wider supply chain are dramatically hit, not only by the family farm tax, but the family business tax. And they're not only satisfied with that, they're dropping your D-Link payments, your SFI grants, hitting cash flow for those many family farming businesses. Today is crunch day, it's the budget. We need to make sure that we are campaigning right up to the last minute, that the Chancellor and the Prime Minister change course. Because if they don't, it's the next generation that are going to be hit. And what's very clear by this government is they're not just satisfied about hitting our elderly, our family businesses, but they're now going after the next generation by removing that young farmers grant, which was only £30,000 a year. This government are clearly not on our side. So let's make some noise and make sure that Starmer, the farmer harmer, and Rachel from Accounts hears us. So let's make that noise so that they can hear us over there.
So up there is a police helicopter. £3,000 an hour, because apparently at Trafalgar Square it's carnage. We're going to have a look there in a minute, but that's keeping an eye on us. So here she is coming out. So we're now in the green room at GB News Studios. We're just watching the budget we've been asked in. So we're just there. Got Ollie, Martin, and Clive. We're just here watching this in the background. So we've got nice. It's a bit cold outside on the street, so we've got a bit of comfort here. So it's 14:30. We've just come out of the GB News Studios, or the green room at Westminster. Thank you very much for that. Just sat there watching the budget in the warm and comfy seat, resting my leg. Got Downing Street just here. Still a lot of police, huge amount of police presence around here, which is costing. All right, which is costing a lot of money, as you've seen. A lot of police here, whereas if they'd all if it all carried on as it was all agreed by the police, it would have been a lot easier. Anyway, so I'm at Trafalgar Square here. We've got Clive. We're just seeing who's here. Tractors have mostly gone. So I've just come back to the Farmers Club. This is down Whitehall Place, I think they call this road. You see still quite a lot of tractors here. And forage harvester is here as well. So my leg's just starting to give me a bit of grief. So I'm just going to head in the Farmers Club. It's Thursday, lunchtime. I've now got the Bowser out on the back of the John Deere, and I'm just transferring the water. So we have got some, actually I'll come out here first. We've got all the rainwater tanks are full, and the Bowser's full as well, and it's full from water from the cereals event. So I'm just going to empty all the rainwater tanks and this Bowser into the pond and fill the pond up a bit. And I'll show you here what I'm doing. I've got a stick here. I'm going to put a stick in to mark the water level now and see where it is when I get all the water transferred. So this Bowser's full. There's 17,000 litres of water in it. The pond here is just at the back of the house, and I've got some pipes. That's the office there, the back of the office, and got a 3-inch pipe here from the back of the Bowser into this 6-inch rigid pipe, and then the water's going in the pond like that. But the snag I've got at the minute is the battery is flat on the pump, so I'm just using gravity. So I've just got this. If you shut that off, you'll see there it's slowing down and stopping the water there we go. So open that tap up, and it will, the whole lot will drain, but it will take all afternoon probably. So there, alter that tap there, back out, and that's now running again. So I'll empty this whole bank. There's 12,000 litres in the back 3 compartments. That's one compartment there. Then the front one that's completely separate is 5,000 litres, so 17 in total. That's really good because that's a mixer tank, that front one. You can mix chemical up in there and it won't affect the water in the back compartments. But the engine, as I say, the battery's flat, and that's in the locker just here. So I'm going to empty this. Oh, I need my gloves. I'm just going to empty this tank up with gravity, and then and then take this Bowser around tonight, put the battery on charge. So that'll work fine now for a bit, and I'm going to take the Bowser off, leave it there, take the Bowser off the tractor, and then I'll put the front mower and the back mower on the tractor. I need to start mowing the margins now around the field, ready for the hedge cutter to come. Put that electric fencing stake in at the edge of the water level, so we'll see what it's like when I get all the tanks empty. So with 17,000 litres here, another 16,000 here, that tank's full. That takes all the water off just the front side of that roof, that shed, because at the back, I'll just show you inside, because of the trees, I didn't have a gutter on this shed. We'll be continually cleaning it out. So it's what we call curved eaves. I don't know what you can see at the back. It's curved there, so the rain just runs off the roof, round the curve and down the shed wall at the back. Then there's a French drain at the back of the shed. Sorry, I've just realised some of you might not know what a French drain is, and that's where you put dig a trench, put a pipe in the bottom, fill it to the top with stone. So that's what we've got at the back there, and it goes into a little balancing pond at the back of that shed over my shoulder. That tank has 30,000 litres of water in it. That collects the water off that roof, and the sprayer's in there. I've just got the engine running to start it up and charge the battery up. And then round the corner of this shed, that's where the straw is in there. Round the corner of this shed is another tank coupled up to the big roof on this shed, and that's got 40,000 litres in. So I think that adds up to about 103,000 litres of water altogether at the minute. So we'd normally use that water for spraying, but we have finished spraying now until the spring. So there's no point in all that water because the tanks are full. All the tanks have got overflows that go down the drains. They don't go into the pond. This shed water here, this old shed here goes into the pond. But otherwise, tanks are all full. All that water will just be lost now and go into the dike and away. So I'll keep emptying these throughout the winter and keep trying to top this pond up and get it back up to the level it should be. We've got two sight tubes on the back. So you've got 12,000 litres in one tank, like I explained a minute ago. That's just a bit less. Got 5 in the other, but I'm surprised that one is already right down to 1,400. So it's, even though it's gravity, it's fairly quick. Right, it's still running, but the right-hand sight gauge has gone right to the top, which means it's empty. So I'll just turn the valve around here. So that's showing the mixed tank, that's the front one. I'll just turn this around to the main tank, and then that should start that going a lot quicker again. Yeah, that's flowing it out a lot faster. So we'll leave it like that now, and I'll go and get the mowers on the tractor and everything, and then I'll come back and I will get the MX 135. I'll get that on the front here. It'll be fine for towing it about and filling it up. The MX on the Bowser now, and the Bowser's empty, so that's 17,000 gone in the pond. So that's it for this Sunday update. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, please press like and subscribe and share. It's always great to send some of these videos out to the wider public and other farmers, especially when I've got such content in as the EU regulations and the way we might be losing a lot of actives. So, and it helps to spread the channel, it helps spread the word about farming. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. Remember that. All it does is alert you on your phone. You'll get a notification when I post videos. And that's all it means. So thanks ever so much for your support. Oh yes, and also if you want any merchandise for Christmas, because of my health scare, which I'll just touch on in a second, I haven't done much about getting some more products out because of that. But I've still got all the summer polo shirts, various colours. If you want some of those, let me know and I'll tell you what we've got. Just regarding my health, I did have the scan results back from my spine, and that is relatively good news in the fact that I've no spinal damage, I've no nerve damage, I've no tumours in my back causing any problems, and there's no back connection with my prostate that might not be good. I'm going in this week for a prostate biopsy on Thursday, so I won't know the results of that probably a couple of weeks, so we'll see. But yeah, the other thing is my back, that is a problem. I have apparently got some lower disc damage that they say is causing the problem with my left thigh and causing me pain into my leg. So I've got to speak to the doctor this week about that. So good results on the whole regarding the scan on my spine, but I just need to get this leg and these disc issues sorted, and then hopefully we'll be all right. But I've had a one or two troublesome days, and I know in London this week all the walking didn't do it any favours. Anyway, that is it for this update on Sunday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.